Welcome in, everyone. John here, staff software engineer, over 10 years of experience. I'm the lead maintainer of the open source educational platform and social networking site Latterly.io that'll help you land your first or next programming role and grow your social and professional networks. You can sign up for free and join the Discord there under the community tab. So today, I'm going to create a new repository. We're going to work with Kubernetes locally, and Tilt and DeepSeek we'll be using to help guide this implementation. We'll be using Fast API, a bunch of other modern practices. And why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I'm doing this by request. Do some tests live. So Chris, creator of the Neptune app, or like co-creator or technical co-founder or whatever, this thing, pretty cool guy. You can check out the Neptune app. It is meant to be a TikTok substitute. So when TikTok was like getting banned, this thing went viral. And he asked that I do some live tests to show what is described in this TikTok video. And in this TikTok video, I was just highlighting a pain point that I had seen, which was I had a Kubernetes cluster where pods kept restarting, and they were restarting because I had a long-running call that was overrunning the health check and the liveliness probe, right? Yeah, the liveliness probe for a Kubernetes cluster. And I described how you can solve that issue and detect it early and prevent it from ever shipping to prod using integration tests in Python. So let's build a demo. Let's build an open source thing that can actually do this instead of just talking about it. So that's the purpose of today's stream. All right, I think that gives you the background. So I've got a new repository being kicked off right here. Template for Python, MIT license, public. Here's the description. We'll be using Fast API for the service layer. Okay. And I, first of all, need to install Docker Desktop, because Tilt will use Docker Desktop. I'm on Windows. If you're on Mac, you will install it otherwise. Okay, and while that's downloading, I will clone this into Cursor. So I'll be using Cursor with DeepSeek. Welcome in, everyone. We're just getting started. Thanks for being here. Go ahead and tap the video, give it some likes if you want to help the algorithm send it around so other people can see what we're doing. Okay, so I'll git clone. I have a multi-root workspace here. You can see it was added here. Don't block ping demo. Don't block ping demo. And I'd like to use UV. Already have it installed. That's cool. Okay. So we have a little hello world here going on. We can see that pushed successfully. All right, so we can run the hello world. Python version that I have here is 3.1.2. I think that'll be fine. Python 3.1.3 is cool because the no-GIL Python is available, but that doesn't help you in the Fast API world much. Fast API is async first, but it uses the async IO protocol inside of Python, which is GILed. It is GILed. So for Fast API to operate in a no-GIL environment requires substantial refactor. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. So the way to get around blocking the Python thread with Fast API is not to eject the lock. That's like not a good strategy. At the moment. I mean, give it 5 years, who knows what's going to happen. But that's the situation at the moment. Okay, so let's try to install Docker here. In the meantime, let's boot up DeepSeek. And what do I want to do here? I'll make a ping route. Composer, Control-Shift-P. Oops, what did I do? I did something wrong. Sorry about that. Control-Shift-P. New composer. Pick DeepSeek R1. Definitely recommend the reasoning model over V3 for sure, for sure. And what I want to do is I want to say I'm using Python v. I actually want to give it my whole TOML file. v3.12. And UV for my package manager. I'd like to build, let's see, I don't even want to give it a reference to this hello. Let me rename hello into main. A fast API server that simply has two calls. One, a ping route. Two, an LLM call to the Gemini API. Make sure to use a free tier model. And here we're in normal mode, not agent mode, because DeepSeek R1 is not supported for agent mode in Cursor at the moment. All right, this is pretty cool. So even though we're not using the agent, it's proactively going into different files and making changes, which I like. I'm still trying to understand the weaknesses around the agent. I think one of the big ones is knowledge retrieval, as well as running a shell command in the self-managed terminal. The agent can do that. The chat cannot do that. The non-agent composer. Do you want to install recommended extensions? Sure. Sure, why not? Okay, so what do we have over here? We have main.py. It's adding middleware. This seems fine. This seems fine. So now I will need an env file. Yeah, Gemini key, os get env. Let's maintain Gemini key and an env file. So Gemini API key. The AI Studio is one option. I like to go this developer API instead. Let me bring this into a different tab. I'm not sure if it's going to show anything sensitive. Good. Hey, good job, Google. So I have a couple keys here already, you can see. And the good thing is, Google is censoring them by default. I love that. Let's create one more. And this will be called Don't Block Ping Demo. And you'll do the same. You'll make your own key, but you can see the plan here free of charge. So Gemini has a forever free tier with like 1 million tokens a day. It's a really great way to have a large language model portfolio piece at zero cost out of pocket. I guess it wants me to create a new Google project. I don't really want to create a new one. I'll file this under laterally. Okay, so I have my key, it's on my clipboard. It's made an env file here. I'll make a new one. This will be .env.template. So .env.template, we will have Gemini API key. Cool, that looks good to me. And then in this other one, I will take this off screen, update it, save it, and close it, okay? And so let's see. Oh, and then we can also use PyTest. We can start the integration tests. So let me do a commit here. This is feat ping and main, or like, yeah, init fast API. So I'll say add PyTest, and let's create main dot a main unit test and a main file integration test. Frank, thanks for the follow. Okay. I'll stage these. I'm going to ask if the composer in the non-agent mode can update the README. I like how it shows all the thinking pretty transparently. It found an error, but the user's assistant edit didn't include importing the app. Some sort of issue here. That was weird. It looks like it's breaking right here due to the ticks, the back ticks. You are seeing an error due to back tick encoding. Update the README without using yeah, that's the issue. What do you use to plug your own LLM into VS Code and write it, not just the suggest? I found the continue in the extension. So I use Cursor. I don't plug in my own LLM. This is not VS Code. This is Cursor, a different IDE. It's even double checking its own work. I love that. Let me reconstruct the README step by step. Bummer that it has the weird backtick encoding issue. I don't see that same issue when using Sonnet in the agent mode. I don't see the same issue. But we were able to get the thing that we wanted, basically. The formatting is goofed up, but that's not a big deal. So now let's read the README and see if it tells us how to run these tests. Okay, so we'll do this. Whoa, that was weird. File not found requirements. We are using pyproject.toml. So the feature here is init pytest. I'd rather it be explicit about the pyproject.toml, but that's fine. So this works. Okay. Let's create the env file. Note that I have an existing .env.template, so we should cp the file, not create an empty one. Which editor is this? $, cool username. This is Cursor, Cursor IDE. Top result. Koala, thanks for the follow. Over 1,000 likes, thank you so much. If you're enjoying the video, consider throwing some more likes on the video. And we're really trying to evaluate DeepSeek here. So I could be doing a lot of this by hand, like I can go fix my README by hand, but I want to see how good DeepSeek is at doing that work for me. So there are even pretty trivial tasks that I'm here asking DeepSeek to do for me. So it failed to find the issue. Seth, thank you for the follow. So I'm trying to get it to clean up this line 34, which is erroneous. So line 34 is indicating a top level title, but you can't do that in the middle of a README file. It's like similar to HTML. If you had multiple H1 tags, that's not a good deal. Hey Brum, howdy. Dollar says recommended languages. The answer is number one, web development. So HTML, JavaScript, CSS, those. Then adding TypeScript, and then once you have the time, go for Python. Python is a great additional option, but I wouldn't start there. Okay, we cleaned it up. Great. Great, great, great. So let's continue following these instructions it's generated. So we installed, that's looking good. We have our copy, that's already done. I already added the API key. Here, this is a problem. This is a problem. I think the answer is to UV run it. Or we could also put the configuration inside of the server file. Yeah, that'll work it. That'll work it. I'm giving it the answer here, but that's okay. That's okay. When we interact with these language models, I think this is appropriate as an expert to inject my expertise. So yeah, we have the configuration here as well. So what if I UV run python main.py? You must pass the application as an import. Alex, thanks for the follow. Seth, do you do consulting? We're trying to get Cursor going at work with our existing code base. I do. I mean, I have a full-time job, so my hours are limited. But yeah, if you're okay with calls, like, I'm on the East Coast, so I don't know where your company is at. But if you're okay with calls after 5 p.m. Eastern, then yeah, I can help out. Feel free to shoot me a message. That would be great. I'd love to help get more Cursor adoption. I'm a big advocate for Cursor. That's not going to work, right? Yeah. Thanks, Seth. So I want it to only instruct the one method. Currently, it's giving the developer two options, one of which is wrong. And even if they were both right, I wouldn't want to give two options. Yeah, this looks good to me. Failed to spawn, program not found. Do I have UV in my TOML file? Uvacorn, I do. Yeah, the double quotes are actually an anti-pattern. An anti-pattern with UV. So DeepSeek is really falling down right now. Just to be clear. Like, I'm telling it the answer and it's still getting it wrong. The user is having trouble. No, homie, you're the one having trouble. That's great. I love that. Okay, so now we've got it going this way. Great. So I will call this fix running the server instructions. By the way, don't sleep on the importance of a README. A lot of early career programmers will think that the README is a minor detail and they will focus on the code. A README is an incredibly important piece, not only for a portfolio to present the talking points of the application, but also if a fellow programmer is actually interested in working on your tool or using it, they need to know the steps. So make sure that that README is understandable. This is going to benefit you in the corporate world. I can't tell you how important it is as a staff engineer to have high quality documentation that someone who's unfamiliar with my project can read and it just works. Really big skill. Paper glue, what IDE are you using? This is Cursor IDE. Here she is. And it has the fantastic composer feature, this write chat window. It's actually more than just a chat window like ChatGPT or something like that. This composer is able to interact with my code base. Okay, so now we're going to do this stuff. Get ping. What other chill guy, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Good to see you again. What other underrated skills do you recommend for a code review position? I'm not familiar with a code review position. Code review to me is one activity inside of a software engineering role. So some of the underrated skills when it comes to code review for a software engineer, one is going to be using positive tone. So soft skills, basically. Being able to influence someone else to make a change to their code, even if they don't want to, being able to do that, not bullying them, using tools like questions, the power of questioning, the power of understanding mutual motivation. So if I'm trying to guide another engineer, what are their goals? I can leverage their goals into a shared interest, and then I can say, hey, what if we do this? Wouldn't that help us? Through asking questions and understanding their motivations, you can ignite intrinsic motivation, which is way more powerful and effective for influence compared to extrinsic motivation, like trying to force or transact someone into acting a way that you prefer. Some of the other stuff that I see, if I'm doing a code review, using tools like GitHub has the ability to suggest changes, so I can give them the code that I recommend, and I can use that suggest changes feature. Much more effective than not suggesting a code change, like speaking in natural language, because it's easy for that other person to click accept changes. You can even go the extra mile and put a pull request on their pull request, so you can pull a pull. And this can very often save conversational back and forth, and it lowers the cost to them of accepting your code change. It eliminates confusion because you don't have that back and forth between natural language and code. You can just say like, hey, here's what I'm proposing. What do you think about this? So those would be some of the tips around code review. And then just like prevention over, just like medicine, prevention is the best medicine. So use formatters, use linters, use testing, use documentation so that there's a clear bar of expectation and a tool set that helps you get there easily before they ever submit the pull request. They can go check the things themselves. Use a CI/CD pipeline. And then that really cuts down on the feedback you're going to even need to give, because if it's passing all the tests, if it's passing all the checks, like what's the big deal? Maybe the final thing that I'll say here is being a perfectionist. Being a perfectionist and submitting feedback when lots of them are nits. What I'll encourage you to do is approve the pull request even as you add a nit comment. If it's truly a nit, if it's not a big deal. Make the comment about the nit, but go ahead and approve it and encourage the developer to fix the nits, first of all, if they even need to. It could be optional. Maybe they don't need to fix it. But if they're going to fix the nits, do it in a different pull request and maybe even create a follow-on ticket, like a Jira ticket or whatever, to get that scope different so that you can ship now. So don't block shipping on nits. That's another one of these pitfalls that I see. That's an interesting suggestion. Thank you. Attention to detail is essential. Absolutely. Over 1,200 likes. Thank you so much. Let's see if we can get 1,500. Some recent follows. Thank you very much. Let's give some shout outs. JJ22. Rowan. Thank you, Rowan. And It Me Yoshi. Welcome in, Yoshi. So Yoshi is finally coding. That's great. Hey, what's Mario up to these days? All right, cool. Let's get back to this code. So the problem here is that this is not actionable. So let me inform the composer And let me look in the tests. Maybe it's going to tell me to run testing. Let's do this. Yeah. So let's say I'll mention two more issues now. One, and I'll keep these in order from reading top to bottom in the file to make it easier for the tool. Get ping, the API reference. Yeah, the API reference is not actionable. Not actionable because no actual curls or other calls are written down. I would like to use integration tests to clearly document actual call syntax. And then two, running the test is not effective because it doesn't utilize the virtual environment. Let me go for three while I'm at it. I would like to be able to run unit test suites with a different command compared to integration tests. Mizzo, hi, what are y'all building? We are building a new repository, a new tool. By the way, the current stream is saved, so you can go to YouTube, link is in the bio, check out the live, and get all of this context that I gave at the top of the stream. But basically, we're building this. We're building a demo that shows how FastAPI is async first, but you can still block the Python thread even if you have an async route. I'm going to reproduce the issue, and then I'm going to solve the issue. And I'm going to show you the proper way that you can write compliant code, because it's not good enough to use an async route with FastAPI. Even if FastAPI is configured for async, right? All the configurations are good. You can break the thread with non-compliant service code. That's a big problem that a lot of people don't understand. And so we're building a case study to demonstrate that. How did you learn how to code? So I will tell you, but I will also tell you I don't recommend others do what I did. Things are different now. I learned over 10 years ago, okay? I learned with Codecademy. Codecademy.com, by the way, latterly.io/perks, you can get 50% off on Codecademy. So I have a relationship with them. They've been great to me over the years. But what I would recommend for you is actually Career Foundry. So Codecademy is like my number 2 or 3 choice. I would recommend Career Foundry, who has a job placement guarantee. I worked with Codecademy. The average graduate at Codecademy has a hard time. I was part of the 5%. I was part of the top 5%. So I was able to get myself a job. That's not typical. That's not typical. Career Foundry, on the other hand, they have a job placement guarantee. So it's actually typical to get a job using Career Foundry. And then beyond that, of course, I would also recommend that you sign up at Latterly and join the Discord. Lots of other tips. As much as I like Career Foundry, there's still a lot that even they leave out. And so Free Code Camp, Free Code Camp, I built Latterly as a better alternative to Free Code Camp and the Odin project, if you're familiar with that as well. I think Latterly follows the open source model, and I think it does it better than either of these other options, because all of the research and evidence that goes into the Latterly blog. So the Latterly Leak Code Kata, for example, evidence-based and more exhaustive than anything you'll find in the Odin project or Free Code Camp. And that's just like one of the first, like all of these articles, bro, all of them. This is where the sauce is, and it's open for you. It's open for you. Harvard University's, yeah, I'm familiar. Like, fine, it's okay. It's okay. I don't think you're going to get a job for that. You're not going to get a job from that. So you can audit it, but like, what is the benefit you're getting out of your time? Are you not just like wasting your time? There's a lot of stuff that's available, and this is one of the reasons Laterally is valuable. There's actually too much information. There's actually too much free information out there. So you need to be judicious with your attention. You need to be judicious with your time. And that's what Laterally offers, a curation service, so that you are getting not just information, but the best information in the right priority order. So your allocation of time is optimized. I have a PhD in economics. That's why I am a geek about this stuff. I am a geek about the return on investment of my time, adjusted for risk. These other people who study computer science, they're geeks about other stuff. They're geeks about how do I get the most efficient algorithm. Okay, cool, bro. I want a job, though. So over 90% of people who go into college are going to college in order to get a job. If you're part of the 90%, Laterally has the better solution. If you're part of like the 1, 2, 3% that goes to college just because you're truly a geek and you're just like want to nerd out about the topic for 4, 5, 6 years, maybe Laterally is second best. Maybe you should go consume all the MIT OpenCourseWare material. For most people, that's a bad use of your time. Bro, I can't see anything well enough. Your checklist, your face, etc. So you can go over to YouTube, link is in the bio, and see the full screen. I don't want to like zoom in on my face. Like, how important is that? My face is not that important. I appreciate it though. With the website, I can zoom in a little, but it's also not, like, I'll zoom in a little, but it's also not that important. The IDE is the important thing here. And this one you should be able to read because it's zoomed in, right? Let me know if you have a problem reading this one. But again, the stream is saved to YouTube, so go back and check out the YouTube video stream later on, and you'll be able to see everything much better. I'm in college looking for a cyber internship. Cool. Thoughts on Code Crafters as a learning tool for junior engineers? I'm not familiar with it, which means I probably don't care, but let's go Google it. How much did you like Karl Marx? I don't like Karl Marx. His information has led to millions of deaths. And then much lower quality of life for millions more who continue to live. Is this the Code Crafters that you're talking about? Codecrafters.io. Let's check out course report. Okay, so how to identify a high quality school? You go to course for coding boot camps, basically. They're not even on here. I don't understand why would I do this? Dude, what is the benefit here? Bind to port, respond to PNG, respond to multiple pings, handle concurrent requests. No. This is not a good use of your time. No. These are just like, this is actually tutorial hell, except now you get to pay for it. This is a terrible idea. You should build real projects and time box yourself to 3, 4, 5 projects and start interviewing. You don't want to be continuously doing coding challenges like this. This is such a bad idea. Or you're not even getting credit for your GitHub experience if you do this, because it's in a sandboxed environment that doesn't report your information to your public portfolio. No way, homie. No way. Laterally over that. Laterally, we're going to have you building your public portfolio from day one, and then you get a public portfolio. You can say you're open to work. You can network with people. Don't do this other thing, dude. Code crafters, no way. $30 a month. You should join Latterly for sure. Is your econ PhD still on your resume? Absolutely, yes. Why would I hide that? That's a great credential. I had a professor who gave us online tutorials to do as assignments. Does that lead to tutorial fire? I guess no. So if you're doing something for college, it's for college, right? So totally different mental model than what's called last mile services, last mile education. We're getting off topic a little bit, but that's okay. Last mile education bridges the gap between your traditional education and landing a job. So a coding bootcamp is an example of last mile education. Codecademy falls in here, right? College is a totally different category. So you should do whatever your professor says to graduate. That's the long and short of that, right? Like, don't skip your homework because it feels like tutorial hell. It might feel like it, but it has a purpose. The purpose is to get my degree, okay? So don't, if it feels like you're doing a bunch of work in college and it's not giving you real skill, that's probably true. But it's not giving you real skill, but you're still getting something. You're getting a credential. So it's still worth your time. You want to look at what's the return on investment of my time. Traditional college CS programs are not the most efficient way to grow your skills, but they are the most efficient way to get a college degree. Does this make sense? Am I making sense here? So the problem with tutorial hell is that you have no boundary, so you run into the nickel and dime problem. You keep doing work, you're not growing your skills, you're also not placing yourself at a job, you're just sinking your time. That's the problem with tutorial hell. And it also does nothing to overcome imposter syndrome, anxiety. It's almost growing on itself. It almost encourages more imposter syndrome because you have the Aristotle problem, where the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. And so that can actually intensify your imposter syndrome and your anxiety. College reduces anxiety because you have a credential that lowers your risk in the labor market. You have a third-party objective certification that, hey, I'm not trying to prove this guy's the world's best programmer, but he has a level of quality that will get him a job. And that's the right approach to diffuse the imposter syndrome and the anxiety. You don't need to be the number one programmer. There's only going to be one, and there's billions of people in the world. It's probably not going to happen, okay? By the way, if you are that number one programmer, give me a shout. I'd love to chat with you. The solution to imposter syndrome and anxiety is sufficiency, not mastery, not perfection. And so you can just leave tutorial hell. That's the solution. You just draw a line and you just choose to exit. You say, I've gotten 3, 4, 5 projects. Those projects are in order to demonstrate a certain level of skill. They're not trying to demonstrate that I'm the world's best programmer. They're to demonstrate a certain level of skill. And I know that I can go to the job search, and I know it's going to be hard, but I can get a job. And that's the real way that you get over imposter syndrome. By the way, once you get that first job, once you get a year under your belt, it's hard to be unemployed, actually. All the difficulty is getting that first job. Yeah, I'm still doing it, but I was asking if that's generally a bad way of learning in your opinion. This is not just opinion. There's research on this stuff. Yes, the traditional college degree is a low efficiency learning modality. The traditional lecture, where you have a non-flipped classroom, you have a straight classroom, you have a traditional classroom, lecture, and then you go home and do homework, and then you come back and get a lecture, and then occasionally you have a high stakes exam. This is a poor framework for real learning. Which is not to say that there's zero skill or zero learning. There's going to be some skill and some learning. It's just nowhere near the best pedagogy that we know. So it's not an efficient way to learn. It's not an efficient way to learn, but it is an efficient way to get your degree. If you are in academia and teaching, how would you design an in-person class? Well, I do teach, right? So I run small groups. By the way, you can go to sign up at Laterally. You can go check this box if you're interested in expert-led small group. I'll be doing another one this year. I do about one cohort per year. And then I also do one-on-one coaching if you're interested in that. Here are a few of the evidence-based elements that I incorporate. 1, social emotional learning. So you have a small group. So the student-teacher ratio is important. So I'm not going over 20 students. I'm not going over 20 students. So that's 1. Then I'm using the Socratic method. I'm asking questions and I'm having students talk with each other for peer effects. Project-based learning. We're building real things. We're building in public. We're learning in public. I'm encouraging students to create content in public to build their professional brand, build awareness, build opportunity, build network. And it also enhances the social emotional learning when you go public, okay? Those are some of the big ones. And then a flipped classroom. A flipped classroom is another pedagogical element that's really important here. It just enhances student engagement. It enhances engagement. The last thing you want, if you go to college and you see like the kid falling asleep and snoring in the class, that class is a bomb, dude. They're not engaged. No one gives a shit. None of the students actually give a shit in your class. That's the problem you got to solve. Fellow teachers, get your students to give a shit. That's the whole problem. So basically, instead of going home and doing homework, you come to the classroom and work on a project. That's the flip, okay? So the traditional way, I'm going to lecture you for an hour and then you're going to go do some homework by yourself. No, you need to read the material ahead of time and then we're getting active in class. That's a flipped classroom. So those would be some of the elements that I would leverage and have leveraged to success already. That was fun. Nice sidetrack. Let's get back to this. So, yeah, the PyTest thing doesn't work, right? Run all tests. Let's try this now. Here's a curl example. I'm going to stage this. Mr. H, thank you for the follow. Over 1,500 likes. We did it. Go team. What are you suggesting for a better model? Boot camps? Yes. So hold on. Not better, more efficient skill growth. That's not the same as better. So the traditional college degree is going to give you a credential. That credential has a higher average value in the employer market, okay? But when you get the credential, it's associated with dilute skills. There's something called the skill gap problem. This is a big problem in college graduation. So this doesn't, do not say the following. Raise your hand and say the following. I promise I'm not saying boot camps are better than college. I promise I am not listening to John and thinking he says boot camps are better than college. That's not what I'm saying. Boot camps are not better than college. You can do both, by the way. They don't compete. So that's why it's called a last mile program, because you can go to college and then go to a boot camp. So if you think about the quadrant, did they go to college? Did they go to a boot camp? Yes, yes, no, no, yes, no, no, yes. The best sell in that quadrant is to do both. The idea that you can just skip college and go to a boot camp is not wrong. It is really hard. And also, you should not go to the average boot camp. You should not go to a random boot camp. I need to highlight this because some of y'all are going to misunderstand me. When we go to latterly.io/perks, there is one boot camp that I recommend, specifically Career Foundry. I'm not being generic here. I'm not saying like any boot camp, okay? And why is that? Because of my PhD. Like I created the prestige rule for boot camps that shows you the difference between a high prestige boot camp, which is a good thing, and all other boot camps, which are mostly crap. Okay, most boot camps are crap. Let me say this 3 times. Most boot camps are crap. They are not even associated to getting a job. There's not even a correlation to getting a job. Okay, so forget about most boot camps. If you're going to do a boot camp at all, you need a high prestige boot camp. Those are the only ones even worth considering. And the best one is Career Foundry, who I have a partnership with. But my PhD, let me see if I can find you this article. Identifying a substantive program. Okay, so the blog article, building a quality portfolio, you want to identify a substantive program. The number 1 option is a college degree. The number 2 option is a prestigious coding bootcamp. And by the way, you can do both. It's probably overkill, but you can do both if you want. Codecademy Pro, number 3. Meta has a cool certificate is number 4. And then so these are the 5 options that I recommend. If you want to do a one-on-one program with me, it's an option. So what is a prestigious coding bootcamp? You go over here to this paper. Here's an academic paper. I wrote this paper, okay? And I'll show you where in the paper. We go to the conclusion, basically. Oh, man. Let me just read it. Oh, because I need to log in. All right. So I'm logged in now. Bro, let me read the paper. Finally. All right, so you have to sign in to SSRN so that you can view the paper. Conclusion. So you can see the difference between accredited and unaccredited right here, right? So this is literally the value of your college degree. It's a point on a 10-point scale. That's the value of your that's why you're going to college. And it varies by state, whatever, income level effects. This is all like important, but it's not the main thing that you care about. Here's what you care about. App Academy and General Assembly were identified by applying search criteria that include a rating of 4.25 or better and a minimum of 400 reviews. That's the prestige rule. That's how you find a high prestige coding bootcamp. All right, now in later years, I created the robust prestigious coding bootcamp rule. Robust meaning surviving the economy crash after 2022. Software engineering went in the gutter. A bunch of coding boot camps were canned, but a few survived. And so this is not, I didn't write a paper on it, but I did the research and it's on my YouTube. Let's see if I can find that quickly for you. Robust boot camps, here you go. And no one knows about this. It's only got 10 views. How does it only have 10 views? This is worth like thousands of dollars, the free information in this video. So you want a 4.8. You want a 4.8 plus. 4.8 plus rating instead of the 4.25. The 400 reviews still works. 400 reviews still works. So you want a 4.8 plus rating. Now let's go to Course Report. Browse schools, and let's just go to Career Foundry. 4.66, bummer. 4.66. So they meet the first resilience rule and they don't meet the second resilience rule. So in theory, there are some boot camps with a higher quality curriculum, but here's the thing. Career Foundry has the job guarantee. That's why it's different. So yeah, I could point you to a different boot camp that might have, let's see about Springboard maybe. Springboard, the actual quality of the education might be a little bit better, but they don't have a job guarantee. So from an investment point of view, that's where it falls down. No, they're a 461. Okay, who is she codes 497? Lewagen is dope, not gonna lie. I don't think they have a US campus though. If you live in France, check out Lewagen for sure. Correlation 1, yeah, but it's a specialized, it's just for data science. If you're interested in data science, check out Correlation 1. See, they don't have a job guarantee. And she codes is cool. Where's the job guarantee? So there are a couple boot camps. There's like probably less than 5 in the whole world. But there are a few boot camps that have a higher quality curriculum compared to Career Foundry. But they don't have a job guarantee. Boot camp days are over, man. Prove it. I just walked you through a ton of data. They're open, they're accepting students, they're getting students jobs. Like, what are you talking about? I feel like a CS degree prepares you, not gonna lie, just take the right upper electives. I don't know if you like recently joined the stream. I just went through the fact that boot camps and degrees are not competitors and you can do both. I guess I'll just have to keep repeating that. JJ, I'm doing an IBM course right now for front-end development. I did just recently join. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I am not, I'll repeat it for the 5th time because we do have new people joining, so that's fine. When I encourage people to take on a boot camp, that doesn't mean skip college. That's not what boot camps are good for. Boot camps are good for most people. There is like 1% of people who can legit skip college, but that's not really what they're good for. What they're good for is for 2 things. 1, before you go to college, and 2, after you go to college. Before you go to college, so you can get a job and then you can come back and go to college after your first job and your employer can pay for your college. You get tens of thousands of dollars. That's awesome. So it can be a ladder up or it can be a last mile after you graduate college, because a lot of people, if they go to 2nd tier colleges, they have the degree, but they actually don't know how to code. And they don't actually have a portfolio. And they're not actually getting hired. Even though they got this degree and spent tens of thousands of dollars, they can't actually get a job. Okay, boot camps can help you. So a boot camp is mainly a supplement. It's really only a substitute for like less than 5% of people. Is the job guaranteed for any job or specific? Look, you can just read their own. Just read it yourself, dude. We're way off topic here. If you go to they have multiple programs, and it's going to depend on which program you do. Like data analytics, the guarantee is for data analysis. So I'm going to recommend you do full stack and probably full time if possible. I don't know about the part-time one. And yeah, the guarantee is around a programming job in that case. How do boot camps actually give you a job guarantee though? Is that hard? What do you mean? So if you don't get a job, you don't have to pay money. That's what the guarantee means. So it operates like an insurance contract from a financial point of view. Does that make sense? And then how are they able to do that? Because they are aware of their own placement data. And so they know that the probability that a placement will be successful is high enough that it's worth their risk. And then they keep like a checking account or whatever. I don't know if it's literally a checking account. They keep a financial account of money and they use that to pay out if needed. But based on their statistical data, the income that they get from placements is going to override the payouts. And so that's a trade-off that they're willing to make. That's kind of how the business model works. CS degrees are extremely theoretical. SWE degrees would probably be better. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really looked into the difference there. They're both good. CS degree, salary, about 104 per year on average. What about SWE degree salary? Yeah, I mean, it looks, well, that's for a software engineer, not for a software engineering degree. I don't know. They look like overlapping ranges to me. Thanks for being here, chat. Utopia says live. Yeah, we're live. Over on Kick, Big Red Dopper. How do I fix my Visual Studio Code that is stuck on reactivating terminals? You should trash your terminal. You need to trash your terminal and create a new terminal. And if it's still a problem, you can close VS Code entirely. You might need to update and you might need to restart your computer. The good old restart your computer issue. All right. I hope y'all will check out this video. I can't believe it's only got 10 views. Robust boot camps. Check out robust boot camps. IDK though, man, at least in my life, I see most bootcamp people struggle and degrees succeed. Yeah, I mean, I already talked about this for half an hour, so I'm going to be done here. Most boot camps are trash. I said that like 3 times. Most boot camps are trash. So you cannot compare the average boot camp graduate. You can't do that. You need to specifically segregate prestigious boot camps and then look at those people. Those people are not having trouble. They're not. Like, I've done the research. I already showed you where my paper is. That's only one of my papers. I have a bunch of these other papers. I don't know what else to tell you. So, well, yeah, I do know what else to tell you. It's you keep making generalizations about boot camp grads, and you can't do that. Prestigious boot camps are. It's like comparing Yale to like University of like, I don't know, Kansas. No dig on Kansas, but Yale is different. You see what I mean? It's like, it's different, bro. Like you can say, oh, well, if in general, they're both a 4-year degree. Yeah, but the 4-year degree performance range is a wide band. And so if you're looking at prestigious boot camps and if you're not understanding how wide the boot camp band is, you just don't understand how different some boot camps are. Yeah, I see what you're getting at. Okay, cool. What are the costs on those usually? Anywhere from 5 to 30 grand. Anywhere from 5 to 30 grand for a coding boot camp. I would see it as a red flag if a coding boot camp is under 5 grand. And then frankly, I wouldn't even spend 20 grand. Like there are more expensive ones, but I wouldn't go for them. I think the reasonable range is going to be in the range of like 7 to 15. I think you can get a reasonable one in the range of 7 to 15, which is high quality and or has a job guarantee. My cousin took MIT full stack boot camp, IDK if it was the right call though. Well, I've given you the tools to check that out yourself. So you go to course report, MIT. Did he go to this one? X Pro? Yeah, so it's not prestigious. The rating is good, but there's not enough reviews. Yeah, this is not a prestigious boot camp, and it doesn't have a job guarantee. No, I would not recommend this. A lot of people fall in this trap, dude. Oh, it has a brand name. It's affiliated with MIT. It must be awesome, right? No, bro. That's not how that works. That's not how that works, bro. $17 weeks, it's a good length. 10 grand, it's not the most expensive. Okay, it's a fair price. They got React. Okay, so they're doing some good stuff. It's not like a total flop. So he can probably get a job off this, but it's not the best, man. But he can still probably get a job off it. Give me a shout if you need some help. Damn, that's crazy. He did go for the brand name. Yeah, it's a trap, homie. That's a trap so many people fall in. Well, thanks for being here. I think it's probably good enough he can get a job, but tell him he should join Laterally and join the Discord, and if he needs help, we can help him out. It should be good enough, but I wouldn't really recommend you go there. There's better options. All right, back to our thing here. Ayo, it worked. Kind of. I mean, we got an error, but it hit the server at least. Are most CS professors good enough to work in FANG? No. No, they are not. No, bro. Heyo, our language model worked. Hell yeah. What is quantum computing? Let's go. Chat slide, I agree 100%. So chat slide says probably not, but better than average. Totally agree. Would you still recommend self-taught? What do you mean by still? When did I ever recommend it? I'm self-taught, but don't confuse what I did with what I recommend. That's a big mistake. I have a PhD in economics. I don't recommend that for most people. That's why I really don't like the question, how did you learn to code? Because I'll explain it, but I try to emphasize, don't do what I did, and I feel like people don't want to listen. Even the phrase self-taught is complicated because a lot of people will say that they are self-taught even though they have a college degree. Basically, the short of it is, no, I don't recommend self-taught. Because the overall thing here, the overall implication of self-taught is that you're not working with other people, and that's a pitfall. You should be social emotional learning and networking from day one. You should be working with other people. I don't know which section of it is in here. All right, so this is going all the way back to 2016, but I guess it's still worth looking at. Yeah, so see, 70% of programmers identify as self-taught. Even though 33% of programmers have a bachelor in computer science. So just saying self-taught by itself is so not helpful. It's like a not even a helpful word. Does that make sense? Do you know anything about C or memory management? Like very little. Professors in academia should be mandatory to have industry experience within recent years. I mean, okay, start your own school and implement that and let me know how it goes. I mean, like following a mentor but not going to the boot camp or uni route. Now I need to know which mentor. In general, this is not a good approach. No. In general, this is not a good approach. Certainly working with a mentor is better than trying to self-study without a mentor. So mentors are significantly helpful, but also the quality of mentor varies significantly. So you need to like establish basically a prestige rule for mentors. And I haven't seen that. I haven't seen a good rule on that. That's one of the things I'm trying to build with Latterly, by the way. So Latterly, you have the ability to offer services. This is a new feature, so it's not really well used. I'll be bringing on like a few other mentors. And then I need to get feedback on them, and eventually I'll be able to identify a prestige role, but I can't do that today. There is Mentor Cruise that you can look at today. But I don't have data that correlates these people to their outcomes. That's the problem. Maybe I should do that. That would be a really good move. So, I don't know. I could naively guess that using the prestige rule on Mentor Cruise would be helpful. So, yeah, why not? If you're looking for a mentor, try to get above a 4.25 rating. That feels like not a bad idea, right? But then if you're going to go that route, why not just go to a boot camp? Because isn't the boot camp way lower risk? Like, are you getting a mentor who guarantees a job? That's going to be a big marker. Can your mentor guarantee a job? I've been taking the career path code with Mosh. Yeah, Mosh is cool. I know Mosh. I don't have any data on his outcomes, but he's a smart guy and he teaches good stuff. I'm not going to recommend this, dude. I like Mosh, and I don't recommend substituting a college degree with Mosh. It's just different. They're just different. So you can't jump from the fact that somebody is smart to then assuming that their credentials are better. So the average certification is not correlated with any employer preference. And so I would say that this is probably about the same. Like, if we're taking an average educator or a random educator, I don't think that the median, I don't think that the average even has a correlation. So you need to ask yourself the question, do employers know who this guy is? Do employers even know who this guy is? How is there going to be any employer recognition if they don't even know who he is? So no, I wouldn't recommend this. And I like him, but I wouldn't recommend this. Or let me phrase it this way. I wouldn't recommend this as a substitute to a proven credential like a college degree or a boot camp with a job placement guarantee. If you want to go above and beyond, if you want to get a college degree and then add on a Mosh learning path, that sounds reasonable. That could be great. But not as a substitute. No shot. Okay, what are we doing here? Let's get back to the coding situation. Sam, come here! So the curl works. So this is fix document ask curl. Now let's go to the unit tests. Okay, I have 1 passed and 3 deselected. I guess that is the integration tests are deselected. That's fine. Error in sys except hook. I don't like that. And it ran integration as well, so that's not good. Let's do one thing at a time here. So I'm going to paste this, and then I will say, why does my unit test command run an integration test? Integration test. Should we split yeah, this is a unit test. It's just bad naming. I think it's just bad naming. Is this unit test named in a confusing manner? Please add coverage metrics for my unit testing. I'm surprised that there's only one unit test as well. That seems like a problem. $14 viewers on different channels. Welcome in, y'all. Quick reminder, if you're on TikTok, you can go over to YouTube. Link is in my bio. See the full screen. And these videos are saved as YouTube live streams. Do you know a lot about data warehouse and data lakes? No, I don't know a lot. I know a little. I like Zach. I like Zach for this. So laterally.io/perks. Dataexpert.io. We have a partnership with dataexpert.io. You can get 20% off. And if you read about Data Expert, this is Zach's academy. Well, where's his picture? It's not showing his picture. It's Zach Wilson. Not that Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson. Yeah, this Zach Wilson. So this is Zach, data engineer, former data engineer at Airbnb, super smart guy. You can check him out. So I like his thing. So I'm partnered with Data Expert, but you can also use the prestige rule, right? So sort by most reviewed, not best reviewed, and just go through here and look for, like, does Springboard have a data engineering? They have data analytics, but what about data engineering? So data engineering is going to be rarer. I mean, you have to go through the research and find one. Zach's course is intense, good content. Zach has good content. I had to learn about normalization and databases on my own too. Yeah, he's got good stuff, right? I don't think he's registered on Course Report. So that would be, is it here? Like, I wish he had the data here, but he doesn't. But anyway, I know the guy and it's good stuff. So I would refer you to him. I would not, like, Laterally is not going to help you with data lakes, basically. Can you check MelSoft Academy? Bro. Y'all can do this stuff, right? This is going to be the last one I check. 488, that's really good. The review count is not good enough. It's not prestigious. South Africa based, okay, so it has a job guarantee, that's great. So if you live in South Africa, maybe it's an option. The price is low, that's cool. So I would say it seems like a fair option. I would read the fine print on the job guarantee. Make sure to read the fine print. You want to make sure that you can leverage that if things go sideways. But formally, this does not pass the prestige rule because it needs to have more than 400 reviews. Informally, I'm not surprised because South Africa is a small market. So it may well be one of the best options in South Africa. I don't know. But it can be, it might, let's just assume it's the best option in South Africa. That actually doesn't make it a good option, right? Because it still doesn't pass, doesn't pass the prestige rule. So just consider what you're investing. You're going to invest 24 weeks, $2,000.
Hey, Dad, I'm here.
All right, come sit down, babe. Y'all were playing in a not a play area and it was very loud.
Okay. Tell me when I can get off, I guess.
So 400 reviews, job guarantee, and how many stars? No, you don't need all of the above. So the formal criteria is review count and the rating. The job guarantee is just an awesome thing in addition. That's not formally part of the prestige rule. Does 330 reviews discredit? Well, here's what it does. It means that it is not a prestigious coding bootcamp. That's what it means. It doesn't discredit it. It just means that the statistical data that shows the probability of getting a job, you can't use that equation. So you would need some other data. You would need some other reason to think that they're able to get you a job. So yeah, in some way it sort of does discredit. In some way it sort of does discredit, right? Because if there are fewer reviews, that's a volume indicator that the place is lesser known, which is causally associated with employer name recognition, which is what you're really going for. So I don't care if you have the world's best curriculum. If people don't know about you, you will generate zero employer preference because they don't know you. They don't know you. So if I'm the recruiter and I'm reviewing the resume and it says that Jim went to Jim Bob's boot camp, I just don't know what that is. I don't care. I don't care that he went to Jim Bob's boot camp. It may be the best boot camp in the world, but I haven't heard of it. So there's no employer preference endowed. Does that make sense? What about 395? Yeah, even 395 it does not meet the prestige rule. Now, you can do a few things there. You can take the risk on as a student and you can say, well, it's not prestigious now, but I'll go ahead and go to school because I am assuming that risk as a student. I'm assuming in 6 months when I graduate, they'll probably have gotten 5 more reviews by then. So that risk is on you. That risk is not on me as a researcher. But if you are willing to accept that risk, then you can say that it is conditionally a good idea, conditional on the chance that you might be right. I'm interested in what you think about other engineering roles that say SWEs aren't real engineer. Yeah, that's dumb. That's dumb. They're just mad because they don't earn as much money. Do recruiters even know boot camps though? Low key, they would recognize an MIT more than others. Recruiters, some of them. I mean, like you can find a recruiter that doesn't even know the difference between Java and JavaScript, right? So do you want to do a best case analysis or a worst case analysis? The answer is in the best case, recruiters are familiar with top quality boot camps. They even have formal partnerships between, say, a Google and some boot camp. There are formal partnerships where they literally pipeline in coding boot camp graduates. Okay, so that's the best case. And then the worst case is no. Like there's a bunch of recruiters that have no clue. That's why there is a correlation, a correlative association between graduating from a prestigious boot camp and the propensity to land a job. It's not a guarantee in general, which is why having an additional guarantee is actually valuable. If it was already guaranteed, you wouldn't need a guarantee, right? What does it mean when it says offers corporate training? That means that if you are a manager at a company, you can pay them to hold trainings for your company. They'll do like classroom trainings of current employees as opposed to teaching students that are unemployed. No. All right, let's take a look at this. No, I'm talking to the people watching me code.
You're recording this right now?
Yeah. Hey, don't throw dirt.
I kind of just put it in the same spot where it was.
%59 coverage. Okay, so the feature here is test coverage. Leak code saved my life. It's crazy. It requires so much brain power, though. Yeah, or just time. You can take your time with it. I mean, there's the laterally leak code kata where it's super beginner friendly, right? So you can get started with as little as 12 problems. You can get started in a week. Boom. Good old two-sum. You love to see it. So if you're having trouble with leak code, check out the kata. You can get 2 problems a day, and you can get through the standard kata in a week. And then it's repetition based, so it just gets easier every week. Fixture mocker not found. This is interesting that it has this client in every unit test. Why is it doing that? Nice, up to 83%. Okay, you can go to the play area, but please stay in the play area and don't run around the house, okay?
Okay.
If you had a company, how would you conduct technical interviews? Well, I would definitely have coding rounds. I would stay away from dynamic programming. I would probably do something like elite code, but I would do a restricted set of patterns that are realistic problems. And I would have a round where you're allowed to use a language model, and I would specifically probe your ability to work with a language model. Sam, that's not a play area.
It's the only thing I can do right now?
Yes, you can do Minecraft as well if you want.
Let's go! I just wanted it to be big and strong, but Minecraft is also pretty good.
All right, cool. So we dropped 5 lines. Works for me. Cool. We're at 83% coverage, eh? All right, so now I want to run the integration tests. You think China is lying about the 6 mil? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, that is garbage. They're going to have to show me their infrastructure. Like, I do not believe it. They're going to have to show me the bill. You know what's really funny? This just crossed my mind. I wonder if this is what they're doing. So the exchange rate between the dollar fluctuates over time, right? I wonder if they took the real cost to them in local currency, and they just cherry picked the exchange rate over the past like year or so, or over the period of training. That's an interesting idea. Have you tested GPT-03? I just seen it on my app. No, I haven't tried O3 yet. Is Power BI something you have an interest in? Not at all. Not at all. SQL is the way. SQL, and then if you want graphics, you break out the Seaborn or the MATLAB plot. Wouldn't mind getting a job in the U.S. Would moving to India be a bad idea? I don't know. I've never lived in India. It's super different, right? You're asking the wrong guy. You're asking the wrong guy. I can just give you like macroeconomic statistics and macroeconomic facts. Like, I think the life expectancy in the U.S. is longer. Yeah, so life expectancy in the US is longer, incomes are obviously higher, quality of life correlates with income. So for those very basic reasons, I think you're gonna have a better life in the US. I mean, plus look at how many people from India are trying to live in the US versus the reciprocal. So if you just look at the push-pull mechanics, it looks like the US is the better place to be. But dude, I don't know, I've never lived in India. I know it's sidetracking, but I didn't get the cherry picking and exchange rate. This could be totally wrong. This is just something that crossed my mind. So, I don't even know. Like, let's use a real one. Is it yuan? Chinese yuan to USD? Yeah, look at this. Isn't this crazy? So it's kind of like zigzaggy, then down. So $6 million win. Like here versus here is a big difference in the USD terms. Do you see what I'm saying? .1, although it looks like the difference is like .137 versus .142. That's the 1 year. Even on the 5 year. Well, that's a 15% difference, eh? So, 6 or 7 million. Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't buy it. So that doesn't explain it. That softens the problem, but I don't think they did it for even 7 million. Forget it. The issue is DeepSeek is free, but is it actually good? Well, we've been using it. We've been using DeepSeek today, right? I think it's doing a great job. I mean, it's gotten some things wrong. I had to give it the answer in some cases, but I have not noticed it to be notably weaker than Sonnet. The issue I see is that it's not supported for agent mode, where Sonnet is. But it seems to be a fine model as far as I can tell. R1 we're using. So just talking about DeepSeek is not helpful. You need to declare whether you're dealing with the DeepSeek UI, the chat interface, or the DeepSeek model, and which version of the model. Saying DeepSeek is like saying ChatGPT. It's like not precise. Does that make sense? So DeepSeek R1 is what I specifically recommend. And you can also look at the Limsys leaderboard. So it's tied. It's tied for rank 1. DeepSeek V3 is not as good. It's way down at rank 8. So here you go. It's up there, dude, right? And it has a wider confidence interval. So it's newer, fewer votes, wider confidence interval. So it may turn out that Gemini 2 Flash is better. It's on, but they seem on par. Yeah. It's still impressive. Oh, dude, it's definitely impressive. And it's open source, which I love. I love that it's open source. Okay, so here we are. This didn't work. So I'm going to add to composer. Let's fix the app not defined issue in integration testing. And then I wanted to create a tilt file as well. Copilot seems good too. Yeah. Are you referring to GitHub Copilot or like the operating system level Microsoft Copilot? I'm happily paying my $20 a month. Absolutely. Absolutely. I ran a survey recently and people are saying that they like GitHub Copilot more than Cursor, but I think it's just because Cursor's not as well known. Yeah, so I thought this was interesting because I'm in the 27% here. So I thought that was interesting. Let's see if I can start up Docker. We got Docker going here. Must restart Windows, bruh. All right, so we're not going to get to Kubernetes in the current stream. We'll have to hold that for a different stream, y'all. Follow the page if you want to see the Kubernetes stream. We'll do that later. I guess I have to restart my computer for that. Is it just me or is it slowing down now? DeepSeek seems to be slowing down a little bit. So when we use... What's going on here? That's weird. Ah, okay. So it's referring to a removed package. That's a knowledge cutoff issue. DeepSeek has a knowledge cutoff issue. Yeah, we should be able to use HTTPX directly. That's correct. Okay. Now I'm going to kill my server and I expect it to fail. If it passes, that's actually a red flag. Okay, okay. So what is this? It's doing a pseudo integration test. It's doing a pseudo integration test. We have implemented a pseudo integration test that doesn't actually call my server, my running server. Let's implement a different test that actually calls my running server. Only this sort of test should be called an integration test. Good, okay. Now let me run the server. Application startup complete, good. It was hit. We actually hit it. You see that? Love it. Okay. Add one more one more integration test. The point of this test is to verify that Uvicorn can handle concurrent requests without queuing or blocking the Python thread. It should call ask and then call ping and expect the ping response within 1 second before ask replies. Let's call this test. Let's call this test test ping not, what are we calling it? Don't block ping demo. Not blocked. It's doing a good job here. It's going to import timers. It's going to have a start time and then check the elapsed time. Under 1 second might be a little too aggressive. I might make it under 5, but it's got the right spirit. It's got the right spirit. I'm not seeing it here. Did it make, oh, it made a new file, test API. Okay, cool. We'll skip the coverage, I don't care. Good, 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 good. I want to see it fail. I want to see it fail. Okay, so test repro thread block. By the way, I want to format this stuff. So uv add rough check dot fix. uv run format dot uv run rough format. Do you recommend Python or R? I recommend Python. I do not recommend R. Okay, so we have this integration test. What do I want to do here? I want to lengthen the allowable response time. So where is the ask task? So we're going to await ask task. Here's ask task. Here's create task. We'll post. And then with this this client. Increase the allowed timeout to 60 seconds. So the Gemini calls take a while to come back, right? And that's on purpose. That's like the reason that we're using it, so that we can demo the queuing behavior. I didn't want to add it to both clients. Reject. I only wanted it on this one. So that's a foul ball for DeepSeek there. Changing stuff it doesn't need to be changing. And I think it overthought. Look at all this thought required to just do like a one-line change. Maybe it's not that much thought. I don't know. This feels like a lot of tokens. Feels like a little bit inefficient, but that's okay. Wow, so is this saying that it didn't block? Okay, so let me go in to my server code. Ask LLM is async, good. Ping is async, okay. No, I don't understand how this is working. It's using generate content rather than generate content async. Let me go over to the chat in Cursor. Not what I wanted to do. Control-Shift-P, chat. So I want to open a chat. Okay. What is the UV command for the UV package manager to show the Python instance it is using so that I can point VS Code to that Python interpreter? And that was GPT-4o. You see how fast that was? That was crazy. Oh, I never sourced it. Source. Now I'm on Windows, so it's going to be under scripts. Okay, so we activated it. Now I can say which Python. And this is the one. Great. Control-Shift-P, Python. I want to select Python. I want to select my interpreter. Why are you not letting me select it? Bro, what? Yeah, this is what I'm looking for, but I don't see it. Okay, so I need to restart my... Whoa, I thought this was installed. By the way, chat, if you, there it is. If you think the video is interesting so far, tap the like button so the algorithm will send it around. Thank you so much. Okay, so it's mad because I'm using a non-C path. I'm using a non-C path. So let's use the finder. Nice, we got it. Okay, now I can get into the library code. That was my goal. So here, async client library code. Yeah, so this model instance should have a generate content async. Yeah, see, there's an async form. So I expect this one to block the thread. I expect this to block the thread. Why is it not blocking the thread? Maybe it's calling it and then not waiting for the response. So let me commit this, test increase timeout. So I think I need to make an assertion on the content generated. I think we're gonna have to give up our beloved quantum computing. We're gonna have to give this up. So instead of explain quantum computing, we want something that can be reliable, so we can assert on the response. So I want to set this temperature to 0. Okay, I'm not seeing an easy way to do that. So I'll try this without setting temperature to 0, and I'll run it 5 times. And if it flakes, then we'll ask DeepSeek to set the temperature to 0. Fill in the blank. Please excuse my dear aunt. Sally. Okay, so it should say Sally every time. That's the goal here. let me separate out the result. Okay. It's weird that we're hitting the dot result method like that. That's kind of weird. I wonder if that's part of the issue. It says that it passed. Are these tagged for integration? This time it should fail. Response should be Sally, but got Sally. Okay, so we're reliably getting Sally. What's the concern? The concern is that we are not suffering the blocking problem that I expect. That's the concern. Interesting. It's coming up with a ton of theories. So we should check the implementation is what it's saying. Gemini clients' synchronous methods are actually async friendly under the hood due to their HTTPX implementation. Interesting. So I'll accept that. Although I am going to here give it the library code. So I don't think it actually changed anything. It just kind of demonstrated this. An actual blocking call. Okay, yeah, let's make a sleep method. I wonder what's different between this and the system that I made that suffered the queuing problem. I'm curious. I had some middleware and stuff on it, as well as a database connection, so that could all be related. I don't really want to set up a database here, though. I think the sleep method will be good enough. Even the sleep is not blocking. What is going on? I think it's because we're doing this create task thing. What if I do this? I joined after you explained the goal, fast API failing due to non-compliant code. Yeah, but I actually can't reproduce the issue, which is kind of crazy. I wonder if I need the Kubernetes layer. If I need the Kubernetes layer to reproduce the issue. See, this is the key. In an async function, any blocking call will block the event loop. But it's not, we're not reproducing it. So it's going to mark it as a... Yeah, I don't want to do that though, but... All right, I guess it's worth testing. Even this is passing. That's crazy. Okay, hold on. I do want to try something. Is everything passing? Like, even if I do a stupid test, it still passes? So let's do elapsed time less than 0.0. Let's do that. Coroutine get was never awaited.
Daddy,
Hello.
can I have a bar?
Sure.
It's gonna be one large bar.
All right. Okay, so here it does what we expect. Here it does what we expect. Yeah, that's interesting. All right. Well, I can think of a couple reasons that this is succeeding anyway, but I will say at this point I'm surprised because this is behaving as though this is handling concurrent requests even when I don't expect it to do so. So some CPU I/O bound operations I can think of. One would be read and writing files to the file system. Another would be network requests. So maybe this should make some other network request. That's an option. Another would be contacting a database if it was not configured for async. Let's see. Yeah, how is it able to pause? It's able to pause the thread here. And go handle the ping. So it goes for the ask first. It's logging when it replies, not when it's received. So it doesn't even start sleeping until after the ping. That's weird. Okay. It seems like this client is waiting until that async call. I wonder if this is an HTTPX client thing. Okay, so if I move this up, then the sleep comes first. Okay. Yeah. So now the sleep is coming first. This is not doing what I want. I want it to start the sleep request here and resolve it down here, but it's not doing that. It's not doing that. Should I be using this task thing? I want to see the sleep request initiated prior. Look at that. It's pinging before sleep. It's pinging before sleep. So this looks like an HTTPX client issue. BG Goku, I want to give you 25 subs. Thank you so much, BG Goku. Thank you for being here. Looks like it didn't update the code somehow. So what does it think it's doing with this? crazy concoction. Oh, it's issuing the enter? That's pretty crazy. So we started sleeping. Okay. But did we wait for the sleep result? We awaited down here. I'm going to be suspicious if it took like right at 5 seconds. Like give or take half a second. I'm going to be suspicious of that. Yeah. That's suspicious, dude. It looks like it's waiting for the sleep to resolve and then pinging. Oh, I guess that's exactly what we want, huh? That's exactly what we want to demonstrate. Okay, and so the real way to know whether this is with fidelity is now I can form an async. I can move the timer into an async and show that the problem doesn't remain. Okay? And here I'll just use DeepSeek as a peer reviewer. Do you expect this variation to be non-blocking? Yes, cool. Test ping blocked. So we'll do blocked by sync sleeping, not blocked by async sleeping. If the elapsed time is less than fast response. Oh no, assert that it is. Assert that we're fast, basically. Assert we are fast. And if we're not fast, then we are blocked. So assert that the elapsed time is greater, because here I want to assert that we are blocked. Ping response unexpectedly fast. Server may not be blocking. Okay? And then here, what did I used to say? Ping response delayed. That's what I want. Copy, changed, line. Oh, DeepSeek went and changed the file when I didn't even ask it to. I will just reject that. That's fine. I don't want this file. Test API. Okay, cool. So ping response delayed. So the ping response is delayed because we didn't call the async sleep. So now let me call the async sleep. And we should be Gucci, right? Hey, mission accomplished. So we could consider this done, but I think it's confusing that we still have an ask endpoint. Where the test is not well formed. So I think the best thing to do is just remove the ask endpoint. I'm going to remove that. And this makes the project even easier for developers because they don't need a Gemini key. As much as I like that kind of touch in the project, it's really unnecessary. So now we can simplify the code. And the dependencies. Cursor is just predicting what I'm going to do. It's awesome. Let me go to my tests. So we're getting rid of anything talking about Gemini. We don't need the environment variables anymore. Okay. Somehow it's still trying to look for this. think ping is a get, isn't it? Yeah, it's a get. Can you use the brackets? Yeah, you can't use that. Oh, that's my own markdown linter doing that. Okay, so that works. Getting rid of the ask endpoint. Got rid of a bunch of dependencies, right? Where is this coming from? Whoa, what did I press? Pressed something bad. The old Control B. Always run into that. So somehow I'm not seeing this. What's going on? Test.main. There's no runtime error at all. Oh, do I have a file here? ls. I need to, this terminal's not healthy. I don't know exactly what's going on. Wester B. Hey, I checked your video. Seems like you are new to Kick and not yet affiliated yet. Yeah, I'm not. X Integral on Kick, welcome in. Have you used any ROS in any project? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, so I'm in, that's fine. I'm in a virtual environment right now. So if I'm in the virtual environment, then I don't specify UV because it's implicit. Site packages main. Oh, it's because I ran an install. That's the reason. Yeah. UV pip sync. UV sync. I need to get out of this virtual environment. How do I get out of the virtual environment? In Mac, you just deactivate. Windows, exit, virtual, env. So we can source deactivate. All right, let's try that. Yo, how awful. I can't get out of my virtual environment. This is worse than exiting Vim. Okay. All right. So, I mean, I could just install UV into my virtual environment. That seems like super terrible. Yeah, and now at the system level, all my terminals are maybe at the git bash level. Okay. Okay. All right, so I just have to close VS Code and maybe restart my computer then. At least this external terminal, or close cursor. At least this external terminal is working. So here I'm going to go cd workspace. I'm going to go don't ping me. Now that I'm here, what do I want to do? I want to UV sync. Okay. Now that uninstalled a bunch of stuff. So now I shouldn't get the library level issue. Can't find main. Okay, so UV install, UV pip install. And the issue is I wasn't running my server. Okay. Here's the Uvicorn. That was a real pain, that virtual environment thing. Key error, access control origin. So what's this? What's going on with this? So here's the feature RM Gemini. And then we can ask our friend DeepSeek. And I will say, consider the updated main.py and test file. Why do I see PyTest complaining? Test.local. Yeah, that didn't solve it, and I wouldn't expect it to solve it. So it added one more assertion. How would adding a new, come on, reasoning model, use some reasoning. How would adding a new assertion? The missing middleware was the root cause. No, the middleware was never missing, dude. I see some kind of a syntax error here. See how there's a left red brace? That indicates to me that there's a syntax error here. Yo, it is just chatting and chatting. Okay, so it thinks it's a case sensitivity issue. That could be it, sure. Do two things. I do not care about this cores thing, to be honest with you. So if this doesn't get fixed, I'm just going to remove the cores middleware. Okay. So let me delete the core. I can even leave it and just not test it. Oh, load.env. Yeah, why are we using load.env anymore? So this will be even better if I can do that. Okay. So now .env is out of there. Good. And cores is out of there, but let's see if it still works after that. Nice. All right, so now not only is the mission accomplished, but we've also cleaned up and reduced the application so that it clearly reflects desired scope. We went above and beyond. It only took us 20 commits. Go team. Thanks for being here. Hope you'll follow the